Let's look at the skin anatomy. So we're just looking at the layers, then we'll also look at a diagram, and finally we'll look at what are the key functions of the skin. So we just want to make the lecture short and simple for you guys to view. For those that are new to the channel, we kindly urge you guys to give us a subscription so that we might continue doing this thing. And if the video is good to you, give us a like, share with these other people. Don't forget also to just drop down your subscription as the way we just listed before. So the skin anatomy. So you need to know about the skin. Let me just try reduce my skin, my not my skin, sorry, my screen. So the skin, what's the structure? How is the skin made up of? So if you try check for this diagram, we always have the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layer. That is just a simple illustration on how the skin is. Then the other diagram, it also shows us now in more details. So we can see the hair shaft, you can see the epidermis, the dermis, the nerve endings, the vein, the artery, the sweat glands are there, subcutaneous gland is there, sensory receptors, dermal papilla, epidermal ridge, and the sweat pore, even the sweat gland. So that's just an illustration. So in case you are asked to draw the structure of the skin, this is how it looks. So back to our discussion, we'll start with the layers. What are the layers of the skin? So it's always made up of 3 layers. We talk of the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous. So each layer has its specific functions also depending with the place that it is. So the first layer is always the epidermis, and we can say this is the outermost layer and is always composed of epidermal tissue. Don't forget about that. Its function, it regulates water emitted from the body, and you need also to know that it also provides barrier against infection because that's the most outermost layer. Don't forget about that. The next reads about the epidermis. The epidermis is now made up of sweat glands. Then it also protects the body from stress. Apart from that, the dermis contains hair follicles. It also provides skin with elasticity. Then it also contains nerve endings for heat and also touch. For we to have those senses, we need the nerve endings which are found in the in the dermis layer. Then finally, with the subcutaneous, which is always made up of connective and adipose tissue. What are its function? It regulates body temperature and also insulates. So let's find people from higher altitudes. They might be having thick subcutaneous layer so as to regulate body temperatures and also producing things like insulation. Unlike people from the hot or the lowland areas, the hot, the arid, and the semi-arid areas, you'll always find they have thin because of the aspect of regulating body temperatures. Another thing about subcutaneous layer, it's the passage for blood vessels and nerves. So it passes through, then it joins skin with muscle tissue and the bone. Don't forget about that. Then we can now look at what are the functions of the skin. So for the function of the skin, we'll mainly focus on 3, then we'll also look at other. So one with protection, with thermoregulation, with sensory detection, and with others. So for protection, the skin maintains body temperature and fluid balance, the way we've just looked at its layers. Then it protects us against infection and also harm. Then next, it also protects us against outside environment. So we talk of heat, UV rays, and other things like cold. So you need also to be specific with the type of layer that you are referring to. What about sensory and detection? So for sensory, with senses touch and also sustained pressure, and also it detects deep tissue by bulbous scopulars. The same skin senses environmental changes. In case you're having any temperature change, the skin senses, then it senses pain by nociceptors. What about thermoregulation? It helps to maintain core body temperature. That's also a function of the skin. Then it limits sweat evaporation, thus loss of heat. And finally, we can also talk, it regulates heat loss through vasodilation while retaining heat by vasoconstriction. So if you're having vasoconstriction of blood vessels, we are retaining heat. Then when you're having vasodilation of blood vessels, we are trying to regulate heat loss as core function of the skin. What are the other functions? It also helps to absorb sunlight so as to produce vitamin D. That's always key. Then responsible for waste excretion, then forms unique marks like birthmarks and also fingerprints. Those are other functions of the skin. And for that, we are done with the anatomy of the skin, and we have also looked at its function. So if you have any question, post it down. If the video is good to you, give us a like, a thumbs up, and also you can share with us other people. Don't forget to give us a subscription. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.